Why are most performers broke?
And why do most business owners stay the best kept secret in their industry?
It's simple. They're both missing the same thing.
Strategic messaging that converts. Not just talent,
Mhm.
not just value, not just good vibes on LinkedIn.
Ooh, LinkedIn good vibes, huh?
Yeah,
Not a
the
place where
thing.
good vibes hang out. But hey, if people don't understand your brilliance, they will not pay for it.
So today we're fixing that. We're going to show you how to craft a message that makes people stop, pay attention, and buy. And we're going to start with the invisible expert trap. So let's talk about the curse of being good at what you do, but terrible at communicating it.
Ooh, yes. Performers rely on applause, and you may not know this, but our bodies are made up of 84% applause.
At least the need for it.
Like the need for it. And so when people apply, it's like I don't need to eat most of the time.
That is not true. You need to eat all the time.
Snacks. I accept snacks all the time, everywhere. Okay, so while performers rely on applause, entrepreneurs rely on testimonials. But
Mm-mm.
neither applause nor testimonials pay the bills without a message that makes it clear what problem you solve.
Yeah. So either being brilliant in silence doesn't scale or your message doesn't move, and that won't bring you money. So we're going to talk about the message matrix, exactly how
Ooh.
to use your messaging to drive in sales. So here's what your messaging needs to do it needs to share who you help, what they want, what's in their way, and how you can help them overcome it.
Oh, let's dive right in.
Mm.
So let's talk about who you help. Get specific, right? That we put this sort of like corporate sort of mishmash of I serve everyone. I like to help everyone, right? When you think about like, I help women. Well, that's not a niche.
Mm-mm.
If you said, I help burned out female executives who want to XYZ, then that's so much more specific, right?
Yeah, it's so much more specific.
Mhm.
And then that person knows you're talking to them. You can help them. You're like an answer to a prayer they had that day. When we see that thing that we know is exactly what we need, we're so quick to move forward.
Yeah, and there's a thing that happens with a lot of the people who come to us who are struggling with
Hmm.
this. They're so scared to get super specific.
Yeah.
Again, let's take that in the corporate world example, right? You want to help big businesses with lots of money, and great. But when you niche down to that super specific person who has a super specific problem, who talks about it a super specific way, who hangs out in super specific places, you know where A, to find them, how to get your message in front of them. And the way I love to think about it is when you really truly know who you help, it's like they're in this boat, maybe like a dinghy, and it's the rapids, and they don't have a paddle. They've got this problem. And all of a sudden, when you can find them where they're at, it's like you can join them midstream in like one of the little
I was
jet
just waiting
ski.
to see where
Little
this
jet
was
ski. I was gonna
going.
land the plane. Don't worry. And like you join them in a
We're
jet
talking about
ski, and you're like, "Hey, what's up? You doing all right?" Like that's the thing. Can you want to come on this jet ski? I know you're freaking out right now, and you're the rapids on this dinghy. You don't have any oars. You can't control where you're going.
Okay.
Okay. So that being said, when you can get very specific about who you help, it's like you join them in their thought stream, their problem stream, right?
We were on a call with a client recently and we talked to her about what does she do?
Yeah.
And it was great. Like the work that she does is amazing. And we said, who do you like to do it for? And she said, nonprofits. And we're like, eh.
Mm,
And then all we needed to say was, who's your favorite nonprofit you work with?
yes.
Who's your dream client?
Yeah.
And she said, one specific organization. And I said, there's thousands of those organizations in the country.
Yeah.
What if you just focus on that organization? She goes, well, there's only 3 in my area. And I said, well, why would you need to stick to your area? She goes, oh, I guess I wouldn't. I said, imagine if that organization, any executive director in the country went to your website and saw you specialize in working with them
Yep.
and you saw like relief hit her.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh, it would be so much. Yes, we give ourselves permission to make this easier by focusing on a specific niche.
Yeah. And sometimes it just takes a little tweak in your
Mhm.
perspective. And when you find that one specific person that is your right fit client, we love to call them the perfect problem prospect, then you can find multiples of that person. It's like cloning your favorite client. So we talked about the who, but now we got to get into what it is that they want, right?
Yeah, so it means focus on what they want, not what you think they want. This
Mhm.
is like what they are, and this is the correct use of the word, not like I said in our last episode,
Yeah.
Googling at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like what are they thinking about in the middle of the night? That's the thing that you want to focus on.
Yeah. And the challenge here is that as experts, as you are an expert watching this, you know what your
Yeah.
people need. Like we know what the people who come to us need,
Yeah.
but we don't actually put that in our messaging
Mhm.
up front. Or we find a way to put it like they think about it.
It's one thing that they want right now, and people wanna work with them on all the things that they know they can do. But nobody woke up today thinking about all the things that they need to fix inside of themselves.
Right.
They thought about the one problem that they need to solve.
Mhm.
Just think about it this way. Okay, let's say, all of a sudden you got a huge tax bill in the mail. Like, I don't wanna put that on any of you, but let's just say that happened. You got a huge tax bill in the mail. You didn't know it was coming. You get a letter from the IRS. You need to give them a phone call. You're going to be thinking about that all day that day. Like
Yeah.
that is going to be running through your mind no matter what else is going on. You could see a funny episode on TV. You could have a friend tell you about a great new restaurant. It does not matter. The number one concern you're going to have is the big problem you just found out about. Your audience has a big problem that's just like that they're thinking about. When you can get and solve that problem for them when it's in your industry or niche, that's where you solve all of their problems later on. They're gonna solve the immediate thing that's in front of them, and then they're gonna be able to work with you on other things. Solve one problem at a time, you're gonna make a big difference.
When you do this, you can then discover what's in their way.
Mhm.
There's something that they're struggling with. There's some sort of internal, external feeling or situation that they are struggling with, that they're already feeling. And when you and your message can highlight that, it's like you join them midstream in their thought.
It's how you discover why didn't they solve this problem before?
Yeah.
And you can find out what's been keeping them from doing it. And it's a way that you can help, which is actually leading us to number 4
Mm.
in the transition to how you help. This is where your genius comes in. This is your framework, your flavor. This is what you're going to do. So you could say something like, I empower high achieving moms to stop people pleasing
Mm.
and start building the business they've been dreaming about without burning out or blowing up their lives. Like, that's so specific and so clear and gonna hit your target market if that's the one that you serve.
So you have come up with all of this, and you're like, okay, I got this, but, and here's the thing, it's the start that stops most people. You do all this work and
Mhm.
ask me how I know. I like to do a lot of research, right? But then when it comes to putting the message out there, there's this little thing that goes, you sure? I'm sure this is gonna work. And yet I've trained myself and been tasered many a time
Then do.
to just post it. You got to know if your message works.
Well,
Only
you looked at
way.
research, and what I tell you is the best research you could do is to post it
Right.
because then we'll have actual data. So you're not posting it to see, was I right or was I wrong? You're
Mhm.
posting it to see, let me see what response I get. So now I
Yes.
know how I can tweak it.
That's right. You have to say it, post it, and then watch people's reaction, right? If people respond with, "Oh my goodness, that's me," ha, you're warm. You're on it. If they say, cool, anyway, then you go back to the matrix. Not the matrix, but the matrix that we just showed you.
Here's your mini challenge. Write your message matrix, post it on your main platform, and then DM 3 people you want to serve and ask, does this sound like something that would resonate with you or someone you know?
Now, when it comes to performers and entrepreneurs, they have the same problem because look, as a performer, you might be a killer on stage. As an entrepreneur, you might be a killer and have the dopest offer on earth. But if you cannot communicate your value to the right people, either way, as a performer or as an entrepreneur, you're going to stay broke, period.
This isn't about pitching harder, it's about messaging smarter. And the good news, you can discover exactly how to do that.
That's right. So whether you're a performer with a platform but no profit or a business owner with value but no visibility.
Your message is the missing link. Dial it in, and everything changes.
That's right. Next episode, we are giving you the exact framework to turn that message into content that builds trust and ding, 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 converts.
Subscribe and leave a comment with the word yes to let us know you watched this episode.
We'll see you next time.